One of the most dangerous and ruthless kings in history was King Leopold II of Belgium, whose reign over the Congo Free State in the late 19th and early 20th centuries led to the deaths of millions and stands as one of the darkest chapters in colonial history. Leopold II became the King of Belgium in 1865, but his ambitions reached far beyond the borders of his small European kingdom. His true passion lay in establishing a vast empire in Africa, driven not by a desire for territorial prestige but by a hunger for profit. In 1885, he successfully lobbied the international community to grant him control over the Congo Free State, a personal possession, not a Belgian colony. This gave him unchecked power over the land and its resources. What followed was a horrific system of exploitation and violence. Leopold's regime in the Congo was centered around the extraction of rubber, ivory, and other resources. The indigenous population was forced into labor under brutal conditions. Villages were burned, families separated, and entire communities enslaved. The Congolese were required to meet impossible rubber quotas, or face punishment, often the loss of a hand or an entire limb. Soldiers, known as the force publique, were deployed to enforce these quotas, and they used extreme violence, including massacres, to maintain control. Leopold's greed knew no bounds. He established a system where the local population was driven to harvest rubber for export, and if they failed to meet quotas, the consequences were dire. One of the most infamous practices involved the taking of hostages. Villages were forced to hand over children and relatives as collateral to ensure the laborers would meet their rubber quotas. If the quotas were not met, these hostages were often killed, mutilated, or tortured as punishment. Estimates of the death toll from Leopold's reign in the Congo vary, but it is widely believed that between 10 and 15 million people died due to violence, disease, and exhaustion between 1885 and 1908. The population of the Congo was decimated, and whole regions were left depopulated. Many of these deaths were direct results of the king's policies, though the exact numbers will never be known because of the lack of proper records. Leopold's reign over the Congo Free State came to an end in 1908 after growing international outrage and campaigns led by missionaries, journalists, and activists like Edmond Dean Morel and Roger Casement. Evidence of Leopold's brutality was exposed, and the Belgian government, under pressure, officially annexed the Congo as a colony, ending Leopold's personal rule. However, by then, the damage had been done. Despite the horrific scale of his actions, Leopold II faced little consequence. He continued to enjoy wealth and prestige in Europe until his death in 1909, leaving behind a legacy of suffering and destruction. Today, King Leopold II is remembered as one of the most dangerous and callous rulers in human history, whose exploitation of the Congo stands as one of the most devastating colonial atrocities.